Okay, now let's bring in former governor of Arkansas and former presidential candidate Mike Huckabee. Huck, you know, the monologue touched on Chris Licht being fired at CNN. I also talked a little bit about Tucker getting bounced from Fox. It's just, and even Bud Light. And let's talk about it. When you betray your base, when you betray the people who faithfully come back to you for your product day in and day out, you're going to lose them. And I think that's what we're seeing here. What say you about Chris Licht's firing at CNN?
CNN can't please anybody anymore. You know, they started out as a pretty fine news organization in the 1980s. They really innovated the idea of cable news. And then they decided that they were really going to just go totally left wing. And that started really even before Donald Trump came down the escalator. But boy, did it ever get rougher after that. I mean, they were this way probably by the mid-2000s. But they just kept drifting further and further to the left. Well, their ratings cratered. I mean, the only people watching CNN were in airport concourses anymore, for heaven's sakes. MSNBC was the go-to place for reliable liberal programming. So CNN had little. They finally fired Jeff Zucker, who's a very bitter and angry guy, hated Trump. So they get Chris Licht in, and as of this morning, he got licked. He's gone. Out of there. And I think the reason is because he was trying to steer the ship back to a more legitimate news operation, and the employees of CNN, they wanted no part of that. They want to be a left-wing organization. They want to be an agency of disinformation and an agency of advocacy rather than journalism. The result, I think, you know, they're going to have a hard time keeping afloat. They'll maybe maintain a handful of viewers, but it was a very unfortunate path for them.
Yeah, and again, the common denominator here is your base. You've built something at CNN. You've built something at Fox News. Fox News was the biggest, the baddest conservative network around. They fire Tucker. They lose 1 million viewers. Tucker, by the way, put up a 12-minute video last night on Twitter, and last I checked, was around 90 million views on that thing. Far exceeding what he was doing over at Fox. But here's a question, Mike. When Fox alienates their base, when CNN does it, when Anheuser-Busch does it, do people come back after you fix it?
Not if they find something they like equally, or maybe even better. And that's the trouble when these companies, no matter who they are and what their product is, whether it's Target or Bud Light, once you lose your core, once you've offended your basic customers, first of all, it's not just that they wanted to go somewhere else. You have offended them. You have insulted them. And once people feel insulted, they don't necessarily just want to come crawling back and saying, yeah, everything's cool. And I think that's what's happened, Target being, to me, the prime example of a company that catered to an incredibly small 0.07% maybe of the population and thought, boy, we're going to do something great. And all these mothers who take their children into Target and buy clothes or whatever they buy, they said, nope, that's it. We're not going to go in there and try to explain to our 5-year-old what tuck friendly means. We're just not going to do it, and we're done. And Target's not going to get a lot of those people back. They'll find other places to go. And somebody is going to one day get into the space of retail and recognize people want to buy products, not politics. They have their own views. They're happy that other people have theirs. But when they go shopping, they don't want to be lectured, preached to, or have stuff rammed down their throats that they just simply don't believe in. And, you know, Bud Light kind of lit the fire, and it's flaming on these days.
Yeah, it's a new hold my Bud Light moment for a lot of these companies, Target, as we point out. But I don't want to harp on Fox. I know you go on there sometimes. There are a lot of good people over there. However, they fired Tucker, and then they doubled down. I don't know if you saw the story. We read it just a minute ago, that they won't allow Jeanine Pirro, a friend of mine, to do some speeches that she was on the books for doing, and they pulled her back on some of those. And I'm wondering, does this have something to do with their affinity for Pirro and others, Tucker, their closeness to Trump? Is there a Trump variable in here?
You know, I hope not. Trump did a lot of good things for Fox. He boosted their ratings like they've never been boosted before. Not everybody at Fox liked Trump. Some didn't, some did. I hate to hear that about Judge Hero, because I think she's terrific, and she's been a very close friend of mine. I was not aware that they had chopped off her speeches, and I'm not sure why. But that would be unfortunate, because Fox News personalities, frankly, do Fox a favor when they go out in a public setting, get in front of 1,000 people and make a speech. It's good PR for the network, and I'm not sure why they couldn't understand that. I don't know, because I'm not familiar with the story.
Yeah, well, we'll stay on it. And Mike Huckabee, always appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.